Welcome to the Borno Health Update. I'm your host, Ibrahim Amarawa. On our program, we track the advancements in the healthcare under Governor Zulum's administration. In this episode, we focus on the transformative efforts spearheaded by Professor Baba Malamgana, Commissioner of Health and Human Services, who is driving innovation and resilience in our healthcare systems. The Borno State government has achieved remarkable progress in the fight against tuberculosis by establishing new diagnosis and treatment centers across the state. Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Professor Baba Malamgana, stated this while delivering his remarks during the World Tuberculosis Day commemoration, which includes brief history of the discovery of the TB and the government key initiatives in the fight against tuberculosis.
This day is unique. 24th of March is the day when a German physician and a microbiologist called Heinrich Hermann Robert Koch. I apologize if I don't pronounce rightly because my very own brother beside me is a fluent German speaker and he's watching every word that I speak in German. But this discovery of mycobacterium tuberculosis by Robert Koch led for his award of Nobel Prize in 1905. So it's a discovery which was very important, not even at that time, but even now to the rest of the world. Tuberculosis is a major public health problem globally, and over 10 million people are estimated in 2023 to have had tuberculosis, and 5,800,000 are children, which accounts for about 11% of the TB cases. Nigeria, unfortunately, is amongst the 8 countries that account for 2/3 of the global burden of tuberculosis in the year 2023. And Nigeria ranks as number 1 in Africa and 6 globally among 30 high burden countries in the world. The incidence of TB in Nigeria is 219 per 100,000 population, with a mortality rate of about 28 per 100,000. And overcrowding in congregate settings are the major drivers, as outlined earlier on, especially in Borno State. And if we miss any one case of TB in Borno State, this one case will infect at least 10 to 15 persons. So you can imagine that if you have 20,000 cases that are missed, you can multiply that by 10 to 15, then the rest of the state and the rest of neighboring countries will catch the tuberculosis. And that is why it's crucial for us in Borno State to address the issue of tuberculosis, early detection, and the treatment. As you know, it's an airborne disease, and that is why it's very important that those who have got cough should be seen in our facilities. And I'm very happy to hear that even in private organizations, they are aware of chronic cough, and they are, keen on signposting these patients to be investigated for tuberculosis. Here in Borno State and the rest of Nigeria, tuberculosis treatment is free of charge and readily available, as clearly demonstrated by the director here today, Director of Public Health, who is in charge of tuberculosis in Borno State, that we have made considerable progress in establishing tuberculosis treatment, diagnosis and treatment. When I first joined the cabinet, we had our orientation day, and when I was given the scorecard for tuberculosis, it was completely red. I immediately scanned it and sent it to His Excellency. He texted back to say, do whatever it takes to solve this problem. And that was how we galvanized into action. And, through the efforts as discussed in the meeting in Yola with WHO, they took it on and provided all the necessary support in terms of combating tuberculosis in Borno State. And as earlier mentioned, Borno State has now emerged overall best in 2024 in Nigeria. I'm very pleased that we are able to achieve this through all the effort of the Director of Public Health, because he really, emerged into this problem and addressed it squarely, and support of all the partners to see that this happens, especially Save the Children, WHO, MSF Belgium, etc.
Professor Ghana expressed appreciation to the World Health Organization, WHO, Medicine Sans Frontières, MSF, and other partner organizations for their support in tackling TB in Borno State, adding that all TB diagnosis and treatment services in the state are completely free.
All the partners here present, especially WHO, MSF Belgium, for all the good work that you're doing, especially in diagnosing tuberculosis and treating them in children, which is a tall order, but you seem to have cracked it. Other partners, including Save the Children, do recognize your contributions. Thank you for attending this important commemoration of World Tuberculosis Day in Borno State. And I'm very happy to see many of you here so that we can raise the awareness of tuberculosis in Borno State and how it affects in a devastating way the health care, the social, economic consequences of tuberculosis. And today you have seen the presentation from MSF Belgium on how tuberculosis also affects children and how difficult it is to diagnose until this algorithm came into being. The theme, as outlined by previous speakers, is yes, we can end tuberculosis. We can end TB. In the state, Ministry of Health is leading this, and so as to power our communities so they are keyed in the trajectory of overcoming tuberculosis in the state. This is a bold action, and it is possible that we can turn the tide on TB epidemic in the state. You've heard earlier on that Borno State is the only state in Nigeria which has got 3 international borders, and these borders are very porous, and if tuberculosis is not controlled, if Borno sneezes, then these neighboring countries will also catch tuberculosis. This is a mission that I highlighted at a WHO meeting in Yola, and it was then WHO came into assistance to Borno State in terms of how to overcome tuberculosis in the state. We have to remove the stigma associated with tuberculosis and reduce the suffering of our people from tuberculosis. Led by countries, Nigeria inclusive, ensuring that the lead in terms of financing and implementing TB responsive should carry on in all these countries. And powered by people, the communities play a crucial role in the combat of tuberculosis. The survivors, some here present, play very vital roles in the combating of tuberculosis, and I respect and their contributions and innovations towards driving the mortality that we witness in this country in terms of tuberculosis.
Also speaking, the advisor to the governor on health, Dr. Abubakar Hassan, outlined various initiatives by the current administration aimed at improving the health and well-being of the state's residents. He lauded Professor Baba Malamgada for his exemplary leadership.
As the special advisor to His Excellency, I want to appreciate all the actors in this exercise of today. His Excellency is very much aware of what you are doing. In fact, I know the Borno State champion for tuberculosis is Her Excellency. So forget about the special advisor. You have the highest form of advocacy as far as His Excellency is concerned about tuberculosis. Borno State government's activities have already been elucidated. The Honorable Commissioner of Health has given you all the statistics and the data. There are certain intangibles, but they are very important, especially in children and the elderly. And these are the two spectra that influence tuberculosis. Malnutrition. These are some of the things we call, factors that predispose. What we say lead to vulnerability. In the present state of Borno State, we have many factors that can lead to a child or an elderly person contracting or manifesting tuberculosis. The insecurity, the joblessness or lack of occupation, and other things. You are all witnesses to the efforts of Borno State government in making sure that our people don't go hungry. And this cuts across all age groups, from the RUTF, that is the ready-made food, the tamwa that I mentioned, up to the food that was delivered regularly. It's not just during Ramadan. The interventions being made in some of the IDP camps. In fact, we have made efforts. IDP camps are no longer there in most places, but for some of the recent events. And even those ones, the effort of the state government is to get people back to their normal life. Now, if you get people back to their normal lives, there are certain services that a community requires, one of which is what we are displaying here. This screening for some of these diseases. Alhamdulillah, the State Ministry of Health, MSF, LTR, other partners are doing excellently well in that aspect. Despite the challenges of hard to reach, inaccessible areas and what have you. The state government, in particular His Excellency, really appreciates each and every one of us in this room, because it is our collective efforts that have given rise to this achievement, which has been nationally and internationally recognized.
In their goodwill messages, representatives from partner organizations spoke about ongoing efforts and progress in the fight against tuberculosis. They reaffirmed their commitment to continue support for the Borno State government in eliminating the disease through increased testing, sustained awareness campaigns, and other interventions. They also commended the state government for its dedication.
In Nigeria, about 4.8%, and over 100 people died annually, including our own uncle, our own fathers, our own friends, people's uncle. It's not just a statistic. So we know that the Borno State and partners are doing a lot of, have put a lot of effort, but we can do better. We can do better because elimination can be achieved.
Guided by this year's theme, we recognize the critical role of government leadership and the power of community-driven action in accelerating progress towards ending tuberculosis. In Nigeria, where TB remains a significant public health challenge, Save the Children International continue to support integrated health facilities, services, and community-focused interventions.
When I was still in the State Ministry of Health TB program, the Honorable Commissioner invited me about 3 times to his office because of uncomfortable way the state TB program was at that time. During the scorecard, he was really, really very bad. But I told him the major reason that time, and he immediately took the necessary step. And today we are celebrating progress and victory in TB program in Borno State.
We work very closely with the state TB program under the leadership of Dr. Goni, and the state TB program has immensely supported us in conducting our activities. For us, we manage under 5 malnourished kids in our facility, and we focus on pediatric TB. We know, just like the WHO representative mentioned, that we have the prevalence of TB is very high all over the world, especially in Africa, and Nigeria ranks 6th in Africa in terms of TB. And when it comes to pediatric TB, it is much more difficult to diagnose. I'm sure the pediatricians or the experienced medical officers can attest to that.
In a post-program interview, the commissioner reflects on Governor Zulum's role in cultivating the conditions necessary to confront the disease. He noted that the governor had mandated the Ministry of Health to deploy every available resources in response to the TB epidemic and extend his appreciation to partner organizations for their steadfast support.
Borno State government, under the leadership of Professor Babagana Omar Zulum, CON MNI, has done remarkably well in terms of combating or overcoming the problems of tuberculosis in Borno State. I will recall that in 2023, I was given the scorecard for Borno State in terms of tuberculosis, and it was completely red, meaning that we're not doing well at all. Whereas my colleague from Enugu at that time, his was green. So I sent the scorecard to His Excellency, and he said we should do everything possible to overcome the problem. And under his leadership and the atmosphere that he provided, we have been able to bring about a lot of changes. Especially tuberculosis is a disease that is spread by airborne, and therefore it is important that we combat this problem. Previously, our case reporting numbers were low, but now in 2024, our numbers have tremendously increased after 1 year of instituting reforms. From 16,000 persons with tuberculosis identified to now in 2025, we've reached 18,774 people or persons. And I'm very particularly pleased that in Borno State, we have instituted the algorithm by the WHO and now children are being diagnosed with tuberculosis in the hundreds. Last year alone, over 560 were identified children under 5 with tuberculosis. So we're training more clinicians in this respect, and we appreciate our partners who have been able to help us in this direction.
That was the Honorable Commissioner for Health while briefing journalists on government's initiatives in eradicating tuberculosis in the state. Meanwhile, the Borno State government received donation of 100 of 5-in-1 blood combo kit screening kits. Receiving the items of the Borno State government, the Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Professor Baba Malam Gana, stated that the 5-in-1 combo kit will greatly assist not only in blood donation, but also in antenatal care and other medical investigations required blood tests, and thank Wiz Biotech for standing by the Borno State government at this critical time.
On behalf of the government and people of Borno State, led by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Omar Zulum, I hereby receive these items donated to us in respect of the recent bomb blast here in Maiduguri, where a lot of people passed away. We want to appreciate your company for this very kind gesture and standing with us at this very difficult time. I want to recall that during this bomb blast, we had to even set out jingles in the radio so that people will come forward for blood donation, which is required in such mass casualties such as what we have witnessed here in Maiduguri. And no doubt, these test kits that you donated, which can within 10 minutes show you the blood group of the persons, also can pick up HIV, it can pick up syphilis, is of a great importance, not just in this situation or scenario, but is also important in screening for blood donation. It's important in our antenatal clinics. It is important in our sexual clinics, so that it will go a long way to the state government. So I appreciate it and receive this wholeheartedly, and will transmit the same to His Excellency. And I'm sure we will benefit from this, and we'll look into how we can collaborate further.
Earlier, the country lead for Nigeria and West Africa of the Wiz Biotech, Mr. Chris Patuma, while presenting the 5-in-1 combo blood screening test kit, stated that the company decided to donate the item to the Borno State government following the recent bomb blast in the state, which necessitated urgent blood transfusion needs.
We are donating 100 tests, Diabend 5-in-1 combo to the Borno State government through the Ministry of Health, the Honorable Commissioner for Health here, Professor Baba Malam Gana. We're donating this to support the incidents of bomb blasts and then the victims who are severely injured and in need of blood. So we are donating this test screening kit to be able to help in the first line screening and efficient treatment of these injured ones in the various healthcare facilities in Borno State. And we extend our sincere, hearty sympathies and also condolences to the ones who were deceased as a result of this incident. So we're here, and here the Honorable Commissioner. I am Chris Patuma, and I'm leading the Nigerian and West African business operations for the manufacturing company.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for next week's update, where we'll explore more innovations in the healthcare sector. This is Ibrahim Amarawa, reminding you health is wealth, and Borno is on the rise.